Hello, D&D's Nutters. We're back, and we're around the fire because we're here to tell you a story. Some D&D related stories. Basically, yeah, we're here to do some catch up. Harley's here, um, here to just to do some catch up on some of the D&D lore that we've created from previous campaigns, mini campaigns, some one shots we've done, and stuff like that. Some of which only Harley knows about. So it will be a learning experience for me as well, probably a little bit. So yeah, what should we start with first?
Uh, First, well, in this video, we're going to be catching up on the stuff that happens before Smoking Shadows that was never talked about on video. And then after that, we're going to be doing the wrap up for Dead Oasis, which was the last campaign we were doing but never finished off.
Ah, yes, yeah, that was indeed, yeah. Yeah, God, that was such a long time ago. That at this point, and was at one point the main
Yeah,
series, which has now been overtaken by what we're calling the Shadow Saga, I guess.
yeah. So I think the best starting point would be the backstory of Harumi, the mother of Kaden. Ooh.
Ooh,
Right, let us begin.
let's
So
go.
the story starts off. Harumi is already a teenager, and she's just living in some village. One day, this like insane wizard starts just like barreling through the village, and he's screaming a bunch of nonsense about demons coming to the earth and ravaging the land. All while he's shooting just blasts at random at the civilians. Harumi is hiding inside her house, and the wizard catches a glimpse of her and shoots a blast into her building, which looks like it should have been a lethal attack. While this is going on, there's a few local heroes in the village that fight off this wizard, defeat him, and then he gets taken away. After all that chaos has gone on, the village is carrying out damage assessment, checking on the civilians and the buildings and such. Which is when they find Harumi laying in her house, unconscious, but she has the mark of the demon on the back of one of her shoulders, as well as new horns. Ooh.
Holy crap! That was insane.
Since they don't know what to do with her for now, she's just sort of taken into custody, and so she later wakes up inside of a cell. So she panics a bit and manages to break down the wall of the building and just escape through.
Jeez.
She gets back to the center of the village, and the people of the village do sympathize with her for what happened, but seeing as she looks like she's part demon, like the village is scared of her, and so they basically beg and plea for her to leave because they don't feel safe. So Harumi is left with not much choice but to leave her home.
That's very sad.
Away.
Oh my god.
So she goes to a nearby village. She lies about her appearance, saying that she's part tiefling, and then that new village just like buys it, and they don't really care too much. and she starts taking up a random like small jobs to like just get money for food and such. And after doing this for a couple days, she finds that she's just not getting enough money to live really. So she starts looking at sort of like the adventurers board in like the tavern, and she sees a wanted bounty on a thief that keeps going into the village.
Oh.
She decides to take up that job. She's like stalking around the buildings at night time until she finds him. And to her surprise, when she goes to fight him, she actually manages to win against, and she gets quite a bit of money compared to the normal jobs that she was doing before.
Oh.
So she's getting like a bit of an eye for adventure now. She starts to hear rumors like around the village about some really strange happenings going on at a place called Saxa Musica,
Oh.
considering regarding this guy who's sort of demon-like in appearance.
Oh.
And this is where the beginning of the Saxa Musica one-shot happens.
Oh, nice.
Uh, my memory on the one-shot isn't like proper all there, since this was like 2 years ago and a bit more.
Also, as well, just to say as well, we would have done this with Ellie, who obviously, as you know, is the current DM of Ancient Shadows. However, they're kind of wrapped up in a couple of bits at the moment. They may join later to cover if they are available, but um, we're kind of if we are kind of relying on our memory at the moment.
I mean, I do have some notes, but like
Mm.
they're only notes. I don't remember
Yeah,
like all the in-betweens.
yeah, that's fair enough.
Alright, so the start of Saxa Musica, it begins with a group arriving in a carriage to the city that's in Alphinic, and they find that it's currently overrun by like a whole bunch of bandits.
Oh,
Uh, on arrival, they see bandits trying to break into some building which has a lot of civilians, like taking shelter inside and trying to barricade the people out.
right.
Uh, they're two pretty wacky characters. The first bandit is like this big stoic, like muscly guy,
Oh.
and the second guy is this little short man that has a really high pitched Texan voice. And like whenever we started attacking him, he'd call out to the other guy, going, "Help! Help me!"
Oh my goodness. Okay, you were cutting out a little there. I don't know if noise suppression had a hand in that, but
Oh man. But anyway,
yeah.
uh, hold on, just looking. I lost my notes.
Oh
Alright,
no.
so we beat these two guys, and like the rest of the smaller bandits just like go away because we beat the two strongest guys there.
Right.
The villagers start like piling back out of that building out onto the street again, and they're all thanking us. I remember one of them makes like a passing comment at Harumi, saying like, "Oh, I can't believe another demon has come to help us." And then Harumi started like squaring up a bit,
Oh.
being like, "I am not a demon, so don't call me that."
No, call me that. Sorry.
Yeah, but after beating these like two like higher ups of the bandit group, the word of it reaches their leader pretty quickly.
Mm.
We find as we get more into the main town that we actually run into the leader, and he challenges us to a fight, and we start to fight this guy. and we are just like massively outskilled by him at this point.
Oh.
Like, like we just lose to him in like a few minutes. But instead of killing us, he goes like, "Oh, this is like too easy. It's not that fun to kill you now." And so he challenges us to a motorbike race in the mountains the next day.
Oh, swag.
So he'd given us like the day to prepare. We start running around the village. We find these guys that have motorcycles. We explain the situation to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can use them for now." So we spend that day practicing like how to ride them and to get familiar with the mechanics of it.
Mhm.
We do like a little like trial race between just our group, and it just goes really horribly. Like we're getting bad rolls. We're like intentionally getting in each other's way because like we're not really training. We're just like
Taking the
racing
piss.
against each other
Yeah.
and like yeah,
Damn.
and being like too competitive about it. But the next day comes up. We meet the leader by like the start of this like cliffside in the mountains with our bikes. Uh, we noticed the motorbike that he's brought along with him. It has like gems all along like the inside of it that looks like a bunch of souls swirling around inside them. And we've learned that the people that he kills, he traps their souls inside of his motorbike.
Damn.
So we start doing the race, and about like midway through, I mean, like we're doing like much better than we were doing the practice. But halfway through, we realize like we just have to make sure that he doesn't get to the end of the race. So we all just turn around and just start launching blasts at him while he's driving. And like
Smart.
he like just takes it for a while until he starts trying to attack back as well. So I think it ended off with we were going through like this tunnel,
Mhm.
and at the end of the tunnel there was a sharp turn where if you didn't make the turn you just go flying off the cliff.
Oh.
So we started ramming our bikes into his bike and like shooting out the tires, and we managed to send him flying over the cliffside like just in time to beat him before the race ended.
Unbelievable.
It was insane.
It was what it sounds it.
Uh, After the race finished, like we came out towards the village again. All the bandits had cleared out because they heard that the leader guy like just lost and died in a race.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh shit, we gotta get out of here."
Damn.
So we've successfully freed the village of Saxa Musica. Everyone's coming out and cheering for us. And since they don't have leaders anymore, they just sort of elect the entire hero group to be the new leaders of Saxa Musica.
Oh, swag.
But I think most of them stuck around to just lead. But Harumi went to, because Saxa Musica is like one of the most technological places in our D&D world. She found someone to make her a little gauntlet that, like, I'd done it a few times during the one shot using Devil Trigger, like I did for Caden.
Right.
But at this point in the story, I had someone make a little gauntlet for her that would let her activate it, like by choice. And then she took the motorbike that she had and left to go to another city, like quite a while away.
Right.
And I hadn't written this like before, but like presumably, since she'd be like on her own for a while, she would just continuously like Devil Trigger over and over again until like she would learn how to control it.
Right.
So she has a fully controlled Devil Trigger Meanwhile, in Smoking Shadows, Caden had like no control of it at all.
Oh, interesting.
So coming up, this is where the demon campaign, or part 0, begins.
Okay.
The group they just sort of all meet up by coincidence. Like, they just all arrive at this place called Majorial about the same time.
Right.
And there's reports like spreading about the city, like quite vocally, about something weird going on in the maze that's nearby. And since the group is like all like adventurers, like somewhat, we all go to the maze together to explore. As we're getting closer to the center of the maze, we keep finding like monsters that we have to fight or like get by.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
Who's butchering my story then?
Oh.
me, I am.
Absolutely.
So
crazy.
something about Harumi being able to control her devil trigger while Caden can't?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We just got to the start of part 0.
Oh, thank God I'm here just in time.
Yeah.
We've
Just in time
just
to save my butchering of the story.
just in time. We just finished the Saxon Musica section.
Oh Christ, did you butcher Saxon Musica as well?
Absolutely.
No. I can't remember what the guy's name was. Fucking, did you tell him about Billy and Chuck?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right, that's
I
the most
thought it was, I thought it was Billy and Tex.
It was Billy and Tex, yeah. Billy and Chuck as a wrestling
Right.
tag team. You see, you know, that was a test. And you
Yeah.
passed it, so clearly you're telling the story right. Carry on. We're at the start of part 0.
Yippee.
Yippee.
We should retroactively give it a Shadows subtitle. What are the candidate
Pre-Shadows.
names? Pre-Shadows, pre-cum Shadows, starting Shadows. There you go.
Starring Shadows. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so part 0, starting Shadows, Breaking Bad, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, boy.
Go ahead, Harley. Why don't you tell them the tale?
Oh, well.
Come on.
Alright, so we're fighting these monsters to get through the maze until we get to the center. There's this large wall with text on it that's in a different language, as well as this, like, glowing red crystal. But before we can get to investigating it properly, like, there is a fucking mind flayer that's there to, like, fend us off. And Ellie told me the fight with the mind flayer was supposed to absolutely be a scripted loss.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Mm-hmm.
I had Harumi run up to it, grab some of its tentacles off its face, and try to rip them off while in Devil Trigger. Ellie was saying it was stupid, but I got a natural 20.
Yeah.
And it basically ripped half of its face off of its head. And like just basically won the 1v1 fight with a mind flayer. Like way under leveled to do it.
It's my biggest embarrassment as a DM, really.
Oh no, there is worse coming up.
Wait, hold on. No. Shut up.
Remember the
No.
D100.
Oh my God, that is one of the worst things that ever happened. Carry on.
So with I have defeated the mind flayer, but these 3 like big like demon generals show up. They finish off the mind flayer that's just like on the floor, and they take this crystal out of the wall. I think I tried to attack them, but I just got like blown back and I couldn't do anything to reach them. And they just fucked off with this crystal, and we had no idea what was going on.
Damn.
Yep.
So we went back to Majorial's village, and we talked to a priest about it, saying that, hey, like, some demons showed up and, like, stole your stupid little maze crystal. Like, what's going on?
Was this the priest? What was it? This was the priest who said this, or was it like the guy who just could not believe what you fucking like how badly you fucked it up? Because I remember that was an NPC.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Oh, the fucking cleric man. What a character that never appears again outside of this chapter.
Dang.
But we've told him about it, and he refers us over to a place called Infernum Chronos. So we start to head over that way. But before we reach there, we reach another village called Barclapham.
You missed something really important.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, number one, you know you got prepared before you left, and that involved sneaking into a sex shop. And number two, this is where you met Granny Jane.
Yeah, fucking, I'm getting there. No.
Granny Jane, you already met her. This is where you meet her in Majorial.
These are not the same as the notes you gave me like 2 days ago.
What? No, because I kept retroactively saying, "Oh yeah, by the way."
I can't believe you sabotage me like this.
I have.
In my
Sorry,
own video.
you know, if ever the 20-minute recap of Paul's campaign gets released, you'll realize that I skip over a paragraph, then go back to amend my notes. Yeah, Granny Jane gets met here. She's the one who takes them over to this village on the way to Infernum Chromos, where they meet a spiked devil, I think, and it's big, it's huge.
Yeah, we get to the village of Barclapham, and there is a massive, just demon creature. Like, we find that it's like already been attacking people. Like, everyone else is like running away, like scared. So we show up and just kill this demon. All the villagers come running out, like cheering and shit. Like, they start like dragging us inside of this pub, and they start throwing like a small party, like in our honor, basically. Our characters all start drinking. We eventually get so drunk that all of our characters start dancing, and we roll so good at the dancing that we actually like outshow like an actual dance group that was there.
Oh, the B-Boys!
Yeah, the B-Boys. We made them look like shit because we all got like nat 20s and stuff.
Oh, right, the cleric doesn't come back, but the B-Boys do.
Oh, damn! Spoilers! Spoilers!
Yeah, spoilers, go ahead. Yeah, what happens after that? You're still on your way to Infernum Chromos, right?
Yeah.
I think you ask one of the guys, like, huh, where do we go? And they, like, point over the horizon, and then there's very clearly a change of plane from, like, purple grass to fire. It's like, oh, yeah. Oh, we'll go that way.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah. Oh, Christ. I hope we didn't skip over that as well. Okay, carry on. You go.
Yeah, so Granny Jane lets us have some carriages that we take over to Infernum Chronos. We make our way over to the castle, and we're stopped by the gatekeepers.
Oh,
One of them being a man named Josh Bloke.
yeah, yippee, Josh Bloke, who nobody knows who this is unless you played Darkfang 3, baby!
We'll get to that!
Yeah, we'll get there. Hold on, minor point, minor footnote. This is the first instance of a Fatmacy that gets found.
No,
And it's the first and it's the first mention of the potion of not fucking it up.
Oh, real.
Which, you know, I pay off 2 years later. Carry on, you're doing good. Let's go.
Yeah, so we get to the gate, and they are absolutely not expecting visitors. So like, they stop us before we come in, and they're like, who the fuck are you supposed to be? Like, what are you doing showing up at the castle? And then I forget what we talk about to Josh Bloke. I think we just say, you need to let us in, it's important. And he's like, oh, I need to. All right then, and he just lets us in, just like that.
It was, yeah, which leads to a really cool interaction later.
Yeah. We get inside the castle. We see the king and start to talk to him, and the king's like, "Wait, who the fuck let you in?" He's like, "Oh, I bet it was that Josh bloke, weren't it?" And we were like, "Yeah." And just everyone in the castle was going like, "For fuck's sake, Josh!"
Oh!
Oh,
I should fire that guy, you know.
yeah.
I did not know who the Josh bloke was like this.
Oh, you'll.
Oh, it was
Don't worry,
funny.
Josh Bloke has a different fate than you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Anyway, we start talking to the king about what's going on, about the demons trying to find these crystals and all this other shit.
Did you mention how everyone's turned into half demons at this point?
Oh no, I haven't.
Okay, right. So
Like, yeah,
when
you
the
do it.
demons take the crystal, they're accompanied by a warlock, right? That group from the maze, right? They're accompanied by a warlock. When they do this, like a tear opens in the sky and demons start pouring out.
Oh
And
no.
also, because of this, because of the dark, devious, evil magic, everyone has grown horns. With the exception of, did you mention Eden? Because we don't need to.
That's why I did not mention them.
Okay, cool.
They
Carry on.
are completely inconsequential.
Well, I mean, yeah, they, no shade, they didn't show up to half the sessions, so carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, everyone's half demons, carry on, yeah.
So we're talking to this king, saying that, oh, we need to enlist the help of some of his forces to help fight against this demon shit. And he decides that he doesn't want to help us because he actually approves of the demon's plan and he thinks it's a good idea to let them do what they're doing.
Because, like, as the group discovered, if you're a half demon, then when you go into, like, hot places, your blood cools down slightly. So it's getting more tourism into Infernum Chromos because people can stand the heat now. It's like if you had a constant personal air freshener, like air conditioner, you'd go to Australia more often. Like, That's basically the gist of it. It's money. I love money.
Oh.
Oh, money.
Damn.
But after we've talked to the king and just like not gotten anything out of it, we just start to leave. And we hear like everyone talking shit about Josh Bloke again, going, "Oh, fucking Josh Bloke." Kurumi decides while they're leaving, she would turn around and just start shouting at Josh, saying, "Oi, Josh! Come the fuck down here!" And he's like, "What? Why?" And she's like, "You're gonna come with us." And he's just like, "Oh, okay then," and just decides to come along with the group.
Yeah, I mean, party member made, guys. You did it. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and can I send you the note for this page? 'Cause I
Yeah,
need to
sure.
do
Go for it. I'll review it.
Oh god.
I forgot I sent the Tony Stark gif.
It's just a thing as well. We're sat in front of the fire. I didn't know what to record, and then Harley was just like, maybe we should just have a fireplace or something.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was this close to playing Zelda music, but then I kind of realised the Nintendo Ninjas may be after me if I do that.
Yeah. It's not any bad, the part of the group, part of the group. You've got to refer to the demon book as the tome, because that's what we're calling it in my campaign. You know, the current one. Sorry, I'm just going over the notes real quick. Yeah, the kid is the same person as, you know, that, yeah, and then I ripped off Loop on the third, Castle of Cagliostro. You gotta mention... Oh, you mention him, it's all good then, okay. No. Mention in between going back to Backlapham and, you know, you fight against the last guys, you gotta insert the part where Harumi almost kills herself. Because I think that's very important. And then the rest of the shit at the end is sort of made up, so yeah, that seems good.
I thought you was gonna keep reading the story, not
Oh,
guessing the
sorry.
notes.
Sorry, that's what you... Can I send you the notes? Yeah, okay, fine, I'll do the story then. Fine. Sorry, Josh, cut that part out.
Oh my god, I really am, definitely really am!
Hey everyone, this is post-edit me. Okay, so, you know, everything happens as said. Where did we get to? Talk to the king? Right, so they take Josh Bloke with them, and he's guiding them to the furnace where the fucking power gem is. From there is a kid running away scared. And the kid was also trying, you know, the kid was just around the factory but got scared by the guards, so... I remember they had a bigger, like, thing where they wanted to get in there to, like, help their dad or something, but whatever the case, for some reason the group decides it's a great idea to take a child in with them. So
No, I don't think that was the plan. I think we were trying to get them to leave, but they just kept going like...
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that sounds about right. So, the kid refuses to leave, so they think it's a great idea to take the kid with them. They could have just killed the kid, honestly. So, in there, there is a great moment where, I roll two, I think it was two nat 1s on a D100 at some point. Yeah, right? Can you fucking believe it? That's a 1 in 200%, like 1 in 200 chance.
What happened was, we get into the start of this factory, and within like 1 minute, we already get spotted.
Yeah, I
So we
forget how.
start getting chased by like basically the entire security of this building, like up the staircase. And halfway up the staircase, I think like Vicky's character like trips up midway, and like the guards are catching up to her. So Harumi decides it is a fantastic idea to get a running start and then do a flying drop kick down the entire staircase.
And God,
Ellie said to me, if I failed the roll, I would have just died because I'm just jumping and then falling down the staircase.
Yeah, you would have broken your neck.
Jesus.
But I get like, I think I got like another nat 20 or something. Jump down half of this gigantic staircase and just drop kick the guards that are at the bottom. Vicky's character and Harumi start running up the stairs, and Harumi starts like smashing these like little thingies of oil that she has along the stairs and sets fire to them so that they can't get past the staircase. And she just stays there for like 5 minutes, just eldritch blasting the guards over and over. And I got so many kills and so many temp health points off of this.
Yeah, because, you know, Warlock, and... Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a fucking massacre on that staircase.
Yeah, it was. Because I remember, actually, I think that was the first time you asked if you could use Eldritch Blast while raging. So that was a landmark moment. But yeah, you got like almost 100 temporary HP.
Yeah.
You lucky bitch. So realizing I shouldn't have let that happen. No, I'm joking. Yeah, so they eventually manage to make a flee because it gets too overwhelming for just one person. Josh Bloke, Anpu, fucking, who is Vicky's character. I don't know if you mentioned his name yet, but he is important. Harumi and everyone, like the kid, like they go into what's essentially like a control room, which leads. They lock the door and it leads into another deeper hallway. So they jump down, they get like, there's like some golem or whatever I think they fight, or just get around, there's a guard or two, Anpu, or whatever his fucking name was, that's his name now, spots that the child has gone, the child has disappeared.
Oh.
And it's really weird, right? So they carry on through what I can only describe as the one Sonic and the Secret Rings level. You know, the furnace one. Yeah, it's something Foundry, yeah. Okay, yeah, so they go
Foundry.
through... Yeah, they go through the evil Foundry that isn't really evil, but just chaotic neutral. They get through... They get through a few more golems, there's more guards chasing them. Eventually they make it to the engine room with the crystal. Unfortunately, these guys didn't question why the kid kept disappearing. Yeah, so it turns out the kid was one of the guys from the demon group the whole time. It's insane. I wish I remember their names, but they're so shit and inconsequential villains that I don't. So, congratulations. Goal number 1, the kid turns into that, fucking basically passes the crystal to the Warlock with the tome from the current campaign. That's right, I'm paying that shit off 2 years later too. Yeah, so he basically grabs that shit and disappears through a portal, and also the demon woman, she essentially uses the metal of the furnace to turn into a massive mech. And during this fight, they put up a great fight, it goes alright, they figure out how to use 3rd level spells, and Josh Bloke gets fucking melted alive from a massive lava splash that...
Yeah, lava splashes up at Josh Bloke. Hirumi jumps in front of it to block it, and she does, but a bunch of it gets around her anyway, and Josh Bloke still dies.
Yeah, but that's like... You couldn't have jumped high enough to stop this wave, basically. Plus, like... Yeah, like, fucking, you know, you can't Dragon Ball jump, so, yeah, it goes over, fucking Harumi's devastated, Ampu tries to run up and essentially use Revivify on the steam that is now Josh Bloke, and it doesn't work. He's too high, the steam goes through the air vent, and he's dead, lol. Forever, trust me.
No.
So through grief and rage, they beat the mech, kill the one demon person, and whoa. Wogue. The fucking guards show up. Like, what the fuck happened here, sort of thing.
Hey, what the hell?
It was like local law enforcement, and like the guy was trying to talk to them. It was like, I don't know what happened here, but you guys obviously don't have the crystal. We're gonna need you to take you into custody for questioning, so we can figure out what the fuck happened. So,
Yeah,
what would you think? What do you
To be
think?
honest, I sort of spaced out when that was happening.
Wow, and that explains this next part. So in that situation, Josh, our wonderful host...
So I thought that these were the same security that like we had been fighting the whole time.
I mean...
And I was out of spell slots, and I thought that we would have to fight them. However, we had just leveled up. So I was looking at like, what level could give me something really helpful here? And I found one level up that gave me Fireball.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask Josh what he'd do in this situation, to which he'd say, you know, something sensible. So, you know, Harumi straight up just fucking fireballs like the local law enforcement plus guards, and just fucking runs. They just boof and run out of there.
Wait, don't forget, this is where you rolled the D100 to see how effective it would be.
Yeah.
And it's where I got the maximum possible outcome. and just completely obliterated everyone there, and then we ran away.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
I sure was a really good DM back then. So they get away. Upset,
Yeah,
tired, upset that they'd been tricked, mourning the death of their friend from 2 hours ago, Josh Bloke. They return to Granny Jane's cart, who, oh, actually, I think they get a drink or something, or try to sell something, I don't know. I remember there being some sort of bar scene. But essentially, Granny Jane essentially fucking takes them back to Bar Clapham, because, it's been a long fucking day. So, back at Bar Clapham, things have evolved. Things are evolving in the town and stuff like that. Some of the wizards got with the bartender and they made like a magic thing, but whatever, it's evolving. Until, when they get back, they're actually fucking followed, like, about 10 minutes afterwards by the fucking guards, because they just nuked, like, half of their military force. Which is a bit of an overstatement. But yes, guards from Infernum Kronos show up at Bar Clapham. So, because Bar Clapham is a cool town filled with cool people, the entire town and the group fight the fucking guards to the death. And by God, the town wins.
We have a literal, like, war between these cities.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's a bunch of guards versus a small, like, village at this point, so you get, like, the B-boys were getting in on it, like, those guys were doing, like, fucking Jamie Street Fighter moves.
Oh, nice.
Fucking, I don't think we mentioned that Anpu woke up with somebody after the whole drinking after the partying, like, there was this woman. She got in on the fight. Granny Jane was fucking fighting.
Damn.
Yeah.
And also Cliff.
Cliff!
This short guy with this gigantic sword.
He's not even short!
He's just a guy with a massive sword that he swears he can use, but, like, it's really clear that he can't really use it.
I forgot to mention
He's
him on
not
the
really
first...
swinging it around as much as he is just, like, lugging it and just, like, clobbing people with the side of it, because he can't pick it up properly.
So imagine Guts, but realistic. He showed up during the first thing at Bar Clapham, the big old demon, but, like, he couldn't do much because he's Cliff. This time, however, Cliff is, like, half putting up a fight because the wizards gave him, like, a potion of giant strength or some shit. But it wears off after the fight, so he's still a weird little man. He's just kind of pathetic, genuinely. He's really funny. And he might come back, I don't know. So yeah, remember Cliff, he's very stupid. Yeah, so the town wins, and of course that means drinks. So I think they have another drink break, at some point. But mainly, Granny Jane gets, like, with the wizards, basically. She starts studying with them to learn, like, better magic for her, like, shit, which she hasn't used much of in this campaign, so wink wink. Wow, so yeah, the wizards are like, alright, because there's this wizard tower, they're alright, okay, so after they get explained to what happened out there, it's like, fuck, we need to intercept them at the next point. Given how, like, the country's laid out, choose land is your best bet. So they give them a crystal, a one-time use crystal, charged to get them back to Bar Clapham, and a portal to fucking Choose Land. So they land in Choose Land in, like, a fucking alleyway. And if I just describe Choose Land as London, yeah. So they get out. They go to the equivalent of, like, well, they can see the equivalent of, like, Buckingham Palace or whatever. And lo and behold, the demons have already taken it over. Guys.
Oh, damn, I don't know.
And I think he was forced out of the gate, basically. He was evicted from his own palace. The group meets and befriends King Charlie, who isn't a reference to anybody pre-existing, specifically not Moist Critical.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. He's pretty cool for a king. Like he's pretty chill. He's like, okay, I know my way in through the back, and so the group gets chased by like Ariel. Well, he takes them to a hotel really quick to discuss what the fuck's going on, and who are these guys, and thank you, and all this shit. But the demons catch up to them, and they fly after them until the party gets to a church. And from that church, I rip off the Castle Caligula, they can see the fucking palace from there. And Charlie's basically like, okay guys, we're gonna have to swim. So, the party jump into the water together and can't swim all that well.
Damn.
Yeah, the party just keeps rolling shit for swimming.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, eventually they get into what's essentially like a water mill or whatever, and they swim upstream eventually, and then they get onto solid ground. They fight through the palace, they bonk on some guards, and they scale the outside like it's Assassin's Creed. Essentially, they're trying to get to what Charlie describes as the
stargazing room.
Thank you, the stargazing room. And eventually, after climbing and almost falling off the palace a few times, they get there, and they get to the crystal, and it's like, woo, yeah, baby!
That's what we waited for!
Yeah, basically. Until, you realize whose palace you're in right now, and fucking Firedill, who was one of the names of the demon dudes, he comes through and he's like got his fucking minions with him. He's like, alright, hand me the crystal. Hand it over to me right now. Harumi tries to fireball him, he fucking counterspells it. And so I give them a bit
This is where I broke the campaign in half.
Yeah, well, this, I mean, I was fucking losing ideas for it anyway. This is the most legendary, we are off of the rails in the story moment that we've ever had I think in anyone's campaign so far.
Yeah. I decided that this is the perfect moment to use the crystal to teleport us back to Bar Clapham, now that we have one of the crystals. Would the group teleports out, and it only takes us, and now we have the final crystal that they need, and we don't need to take any more crystals, because as long as we have one, they can't carry out their plan.
Yeah, which, after that, just kind of looking at each of them, I was like, okay guys, I think I'm gonna have to end the session here, because I've got nothing.
Yeah, we had to emergency end the session, because we had no clue what the fuck to do after that.
Okay, after that, it was like, oh yeah, so they're gonna come to Bar Clapham and fucking get them, like, the rest of the demon dudes, they're gonna come and kill the party. So, the town's cool as fuck, so they start preparing for war again, basically. And the party prepares themselves for some shit. Now, I don't remember half the items that you got, because there was only 2 sessions of you getting prepared, and then we never finished the fucking campaign, because I was kind of sick of it.
Yeah.
Like
these trial rooms, like, basically, and at the end of all the trials would get these, like, unique weapons or just items each.
Yeah, that was the adventure that Anpu and Harumi went on. They went through the challenge rooms, there was like stuff. Harumi almost gets herself killed.
Yeah.
Because she's wrestling this like ice arm. She's like arm wrestling it. And because it's like, one of those arcade machines where it's like, obviously you can barely beat it. There's like fire coming from behind because it's like, it's, to keep people out of the goddamn dungeon. So, in that situation, instead of Harumi using, their fucking fire to melt the armor and go through, they insist on beating the fucking arm wrestling challenge while they're engulfed in fire.
Yeah, so she was half on fire, still arm wrestling it while in Devil Trigger.
Yeah, like you entered Devil Trigger just to reduce the damage so you could keep going. You won in the end. And you got something. I don't remember what. It was probably a weapon.
Yeah, I got a ice trident.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, okay. And then there was one other adventure, which the trial rooms was the last session. This one happened one before, where Eden, for the first, Eden and fucking Harumi went on an adventure. The B-boys return, and they're outside of the magical bar, they're out the back. When they find the B-boys, they are doing meth and cocaine and drugs, just straight up hard drugs. They're doing cocaine, and they're like, yeah, they're doing straight up fucking cocaine, and they're like, we need to get a delivery from these guys out in those forests. However, we're high as fuck. So, guys, can you do it for us? And for some reason, they accept. So they go into the fucking forest, and they find two very non-suspicious individuals in a wooden hut. They find the halfling wall termite and his assistant Jessa.
Not a reference to anything.
Exactly. And the whole quest was that, we need the stuff. They're making the stuff. Then I don't know if it was local law enforcement, whether it was just wolves. I think it was wolves. Wolves came and fucking attacked them or whatever, and they had to basically stop them from stopping the meth cook, basically. And they do it, and they gain a very magical item called Chili Pea, which I'm sure got used during the final battle because it was a real item. You can go and check the homebrew page. So yeah, and that was the final played session, and this is where we just made shit up. I'm going to.
This campaign didn't get finished, so we just made up the ending, basically.
Yeah, it's the same as Darkfang 3, which we need to go over really quickly right now.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, so Darkfang, we're gonna have to go over it right now, unless we make it a separate video.
Yeah, just talk about it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a really quick tale, which will.
It's important to the Smoking Shadows lore.
I believe that. So basically, if anyone remembers the pool campaign one, we talked about Jigen, right? He's important to this. So at the far off in the past, there is this person called Darkfang. He's an artificially created ultimate life form portal created in a secret underground base. And he's raised alongside this woman called Mireia. Alright, so this underground base gets fucking raided out by probably the king from the capital in Bosniak, because I think that's where this goes. Oh shit! I forgot to. Okay, I'll tell you about this later. Okay. So basically, yeah, that happens. Then he's a dickhead when he finally gets awakened by someone, but Bluetooth, the turtle, tries to show him the way of good. Unfortunately, they meet a black dragonborn that I don't remember the name of.
I don't remember either.
Darkfang, I must say his motivation is to be the darkest and edgiest ever, out of anything, and he will attack anything darker and edgier than him. He only teamed up with this black dragonborn because they compared skin color, and Darkfang was slightly darker. That was the only reason. So, in real life, Ammo got drunk over the course of the one shot. In story, after a bunch of fighting, there's I don't remember why. Ammo, right, just in the meta, Ammo turns to me tipsy, and he's like, let's just fucking nuke the village. There's a village on the island, and me being Darkfang, who was conceived as dark and edgy, I think this is a great idea. So they combine fireballs and nuke the village. Then they fight the dragon that's there, and they win somehow.
Yeah.
And then Darkfang is like he's kind of been convinced to be super duper evil. This doesn't stop Bluetooth from trying to be his friend. Over the years, this is like, I don't know, 20 later, like Bluetooth and Darkfang meet this guy called Professor Aftermath, and he's a dickhead. He doesn't like them. He's trying to make a metal empire full of like golems and robots, and Bluetooth loves nature and shit. So they butt heads, and in this special occasion, Bluetooth and Darkfang are going over these artifacts called the 5G crystals, which give you the power of autism. The power up. It's so good, I should bring them back.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Darkfang is way smarter than Bluetooth. No, I'm joking. They're about as dumb as each other. Darkfang steals the 5G crystals, kicks Bluetooth in the back of his fucking cranium, and leaves. The one shot of Darkfang 2 starts with, "Man, I sure hope a party of adventurers don't come around the corner to save you," and then that exactly happens, and he teleports away. So there's a bunch of characters that I'll go over properly if we ever do a real Darkfang retrospective. Whatever the case, they go up this mountain, and in this mountain, in there is like a pillar for a 5G crystal, and there's this dude in there called Coryphus, and he's protecting this thing. And I must say, the layout for this shrine was exactly the same as where Harumi and Ampu did the fucking challenge places. So I managed to reference Darkfang. So yeah, they go in, it's been stolen. Coryphus thinks it got stolen. They eventually get through to him because he's a stone genasi, and Arson, who's on the team, is a fire genasi, and this is the first time he's kind of found another genasi. They see the mural, there is like stars and shit, and like, whatever. There's a prophecy to be fulfilled. So they go through. This is a rough. They go through the mountain to find like a gnome cave, basically, or like whatever, rock dwarf cave. And Darkfang has just fucking murdered them all. I think, yeah, whatever. Fucking Professor Aftermath was seen coming in there, but like you never see him, which is really weird. I love coming. So the most important thing that happens here is that they resolve to save the day, and also there is a kid who yells, "I could have died," and is carrying this book called Darkfang Dark Facts, written by Ellie Bolton, which you may realize is the same book that fucking Dragigs picked up at the library. So there's a reference. So they find like a sky palace, that's where Aftermath was going, so they follow his trail. They get in there, and they find Aftermath fucking dead, and Darkfang with all the crystals. Darkfang has killed him, lol, and now he's going to kill the group. So the group tries to kill him, but he activates his super form using the 5G crystals and becomes Super Darkfang, who is like golden bright yellow, which
I
by
thought it was white.
Yeah, near enough. It was that was like Ultimate Fang or whatever. I don't know. It was close enough. It was really, really bright. He's like one of the brightest things ever right now. And by that logic, he must destroy everything darker than him. And by that logic, that's everything else in the universe. So the party stop him after a character named Ash pile drives fucking him through a dimension, basically, after the party all get their super forms with the help of Bluetooth and all this. And Darkfang gets sealed away to the darkness dimension, where he goes insane because everything's dark. Go forward like ages and ages to the same time as Beginning Shadows, or Starting Shadows, which is part 0. We get there. The story of Darkfang 3 happened. The most important part of that is that the party, they need to go to the Soul River because of the demon incident and recover the soul of Miraya, because all of the evil people have been reincarnated as demons and now their souls are coming back through. They meet a guy called Jigen, and as they meet him for the first time, they see that he is essentially like, what the hell, he's pulling guys out randomly, and he pulls out a very familiar looking Josh bloke, and he says, what the hell were you doing before you died? You don't look evil. And it's like, I was trying to, protect and save my friends. And he's like, yeah, fair enough. So Jigen essentially shows him a crack in the fucking dimensions, like, just jump out there. With all the chaos, they won't see your soul leaving. You should be able to last out there for about like an hour or so. So during back on Earth, the party fights the demons alongside the town, and they fight and they fight and they kill the demons. Then the warlock does his thing. Turns out his entire plan was never to liberate the demons. It was actually to get all of their souls, at least most of them, in one place. He activates a very powerful ancient evil artifact, and he absorbs all of the demon souls, all of them, and he basically becomes a lich. And basically the town and the party fight this lich, and there is a point where he's like done something like he's about to do a big attack, and it's about to hit the party. And then I'm about to pass it back off to you, Harley, because you've got notes on this. And then, as this massive strike is about to hit, they close their eyes, they squint, and hey, Paul, we're doing a recap. They squint, and then as they open their eyes, they see a glowing Josh bloke, freshly reborn, shielding them from the attack. Now you go, Harley.
Hell yeah. Fucking Josh bloke returns, and he's all powerful and shit, and he's blocked this attack that would have definitely killed like all of us. So the fight begins to turn in our favor as we all start launching this like big team attack on this guy. I think the rest of the village is tired from fighting the rest of the demons beforehand, so now it's just our group versus this one guy. The fight goes on for quite a while, but we do eventually kill him. And after killing him, we have a look around, and the demon tome that he had on him is lost. Like, it's just not there anymore.
Yep.
But that's where the campaign ends off, because we stopped the demon invasion. Hooray!
Did it. And now, just quickly to tie everything into a neat bow, I'm gonna go over the lore from that point to where we are now. Give me a sec.
That's my job.
Is it? Okay, go
Have
for
all
it.
the
Then.
notes,
Jeez, I didn't know how long your notes went on for. Go for
but
it.
anyway, Hirumi's like very happy to see that Josh bloke is alive, and she starts to like cry and hug him. Josh doesn't think that he would be welcome back to Infernum Kronos, so he decides that he's going to stick around with Hirumi. But as it turns out, the king of Infernum Kronos was kicked off of the throne for like refusing to help people, and now they need a new king. And because Josh bloke like dedicated his life and like actually died for the cause, they decide that he would be the best fit to be the new king. And so Josh bloke does become the new king, and then Hirumi goes with Josh to stay at the castle. Hirumi and Josh bloke date for a while. They eventually get married, and 2 years later they have a child together named Caden.
Wow!
Insane!
Eventually, the leadership rules are changed from having kings to having presidencies, and Josh bloke eventually gets replaced by someone who looks like a really promising politician. So Hirumi and Josh go elsewhere to just like start a regular life together. They're raising Caden, who wants to be an artificer, so she's studying using books that Hirumi's brought back from her travel to Saxa Musica. there's like an 18-year time skip, and Caden one night is having really terrible nightmares about demons and stuff. And she wakes up in a really cold sweat, and she goes outside because she needs like fresh air. And as she comes out, she accidentally stumbles into some criminals trying to rob some place. And they're like, "Oh shit, we can't have any witnesses. Get her." So like, out of nowhere, Caden's forced into fighting these guys, who she is not a fighter. She's not ready for this. So she just starts losing straight away. And then she starts to feel this weird energy inside her building up. And then eventually, she just explodes outwards with this demonic energy. She gets the demon mark on her face, she gets horns, and she goes into a devil trigger and fights these criminals. Hirumi inside the house wakes up hearing all this noise outside and feeling the demonic presence. As she runs out and she finds Caden unconscious, like outside, like in Devil Trigger, and a bunch of these other criminals, like also knocked out around her. So she brings Caden back into the house. When she wakes up, she's panicking, like thinking that her life is over because she's a demon now. She's saying that she has to like go out and like try to find a way to fix it. And Harumi's saying that it's better to stay home where it's safe, where she's not going to get hurt. After a long time of like arguing and not getting anywhere, like all the stress in that gets to Caden, and then she accidentally devil triggers again. And this time, while in Devil Trigger, she accidentally hurts Josh Bloke, who was trying to calm her down, because she can't tell what's happening when she does it. So when she calms down, she sees like she'd hurt Josh, and she starts to panic and stuff, and she's really sorry about it. And so she runs away from home, swearing that before she comes back, she'll find a way to fix herself from the demon curse. And Harumi is presumably searching for Caden, but has not found her yet. And that is all of the stuff leading up to Smoking Shadows.
Insane. Is there anything more that needs to be suggested?
Just minor things. Fucking. Sorry. Yeah, so 1184 is about when Josh Bloke gets voted out. 1185 Yusuf Aldavine forms the Watchers. 1190, all the tourism that the Bar Clapham saw after the end of the fucking starting Shadows. The tiny village is turned into like a big on small town. 1196, Kentaro gets hired. 1200, the events of Smoking Shadows begins. There you go. It's all neatly wrapped into the package.
I forgot one like small note at the end, which is when she like runs off, she doesn't really have anywhere she knows where to go to. So she just decides to go to the place where she thinks that Granny Jane might be. And then she runs into the campaign group just by coincidence and sticks it out with them.
Yeah, everyone got on the same cart because it was the only one going there with such late notice. You guys met via coincidence. And stuck together via friendship.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Except for Dick Marshall, who is dead.
Yeah. Gotta get that in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we've got to mention him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't mention that Dick went flaccid.
Exactly. But yeah, that's all of the context. And, you know, if you're a Josh Wyatt watcher and you didn't watch the whole thing, you're going to need to, because the shit's gonna come up real soon.
Oh.
Trust me, it will. It might.
Yeah. It might. It may
Soon
not.
TM, as long as I don't fucking change my mind about literally everything. Yeah, this will be important.
Including
Alright then.
the events of Darkfang.
Including the events of Darkfang. No. maybe. I don't know. Look, all I'm saying is you might run into blue. No, I'm joking. You
God,
can't.
you-
It's a demigod now.
No. We might do a Darkfang retrospective because that is a big thing that we did do.
It turned out to be more important, which I don't think was the original
It
plan.
was never the original intention. Darkfang and Bluetooth were initially
It was
made
just
as
supposed to
some
be a silly
silly, goofy characters that then spawned into technically a trilogy of one-shots.
I mean, you should see the original Darkfang design. It says by Ellie, age 8 on it.
campaign. No, you drew
No, it's
like
age 18.
You
It's like,
drew like a 7-year-old, and it says by Ellie, age 18.
with a flower drawn on.
Oh god.
It's really fun.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
Bluetooth and Darkfang are definitely not based on Sonic and Shadow, I promise.
Absolutely,
not.
Darkfang is nothing based on Shadow at all. Mirai also based on no one pre-existing.
Yeah.
Do not change.
Yeah, but trust us.
Yeah, don't change some of those letters around. Anyway, yeah, we'll have fun closing out the video. I'm going now. Bye.
Right.
Well, bye.
Yeah.
Alright, are you ready for the? Do we do the wrap up of Dead Oasis now?
Oh
Oh
Christ!
shit. Yeah, I guess we do. Yeah.
If you got everything you need, you don't need me.
I've got all the notes. Yeah.
Cool. Well, have fun.
I'm interested to see how the wrap up will be.
Nerd. Alright, so I imagine a couple of people probably haven't seen the Dead Oasis things.
Yeah.
So, like, a really quick summary of Dead Oasis was we arrived at the city of Dead Oasis. All of us had like new characters.
It was called Mahapataka.
Yeah, yeah, we arrive at Mahapataka, all with new characters and stories. From the characters I remember, my character was called Hal, and his deal was Hallier Zanderfeld Rosewood, and his deal was that he was a soldier with his brother, and then his brother died because their captain. Well, they were led into a trap, and then the captain didn't save them. So he's trying to get a bit stronger before he goes back, because he wants to take a lot of vengeance on the captain. Ellie's character was Revolut Whirligig.
Oh yes.
Their story was they were born to like a pretty poor family, and their family wanted them to marry a rich man, but didn't want to be like a bride to some random guy. They wanted to be a man, and they wanted to be a bounty hunter. So they left home to do bounty hunting for money until they can afford a potion to do a body change. And then I don't really remember the other characters.
One of them was Rush.
Got
You were Rush. I don't remember what your story was.
The story of Rush was he was living life to the fullest as people do, but he was doing it with his friends. However, one day he woke up and his friends have disappeared, and he then got captured, and his mission was to find them, find his friends, and stop the tyranny that in any turn he takes. Essentially.
Yeah. And
Deimos and Phobos.
Deimos and Phobos.
Yeah, Deimos and Phobos were one person that were two different personalities that they'd switch between each day.
Yeah.
One of them was a upbeat, like, fun guy, and the other one was a super serious, down-to-earth, like, business sort of deal.
That stab first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
And then you had, was it Phoebus? Was it Phoebus?
It's Vicky.
Hold on,
Vicky.
I have notes on this. I need to find them.
I
They
know.
were a centaur anyway.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
they
it's
were a
Phoebus.
centaur.
Yeah, Vicky's character was a centaur called Phoebus, who was teaming with Rev as bounty hunters together, and they wanted to be a fashion designer.
Yes,
Yep.
and that was it, wasn't it? Oh, what was Nathan's character?
His character was Aiden.
Ah, yes.
I don't remember what their story was, but they had a little companion with them. And they
Oh
would,
yeah,
help out them.
Aiden was a Drake warrior. I can't remember what it's called, but he had a little pet Drake
Ah, yes.
that would evolve over time with him. And I can't remember what his goal was, but he just wanted to keep his Drake safe and make sure that no dragon was mistreated.
Yes.
And
So anyway,
yeah.
the story summary is that when we got to this place, it was being ruled by Paul's old character, Vex, who was probably talked about in the last big recap video. But for the most part, Vex was in a different campaign group, because at some point when we were doing those sessions, like we had a lot of players, so it split up between two different groups.
Yes.
One group had Delilah, Heimdall, and all that lot, and then the second group had Flimbo, Vex, Plaustra, and Elias.
In the non-canon campaign.
Yeah, the campaign that we changed the ending of because we didn't like it.
Pretty much. So, yeah. I remember Dead Oasis quite well. So everyone...
to be fair, Dead Oasis is on the Joshua W10 YouTube channel as its own series, so the link of the playlist will be in the description.
Yeah.
So
everyone
we
woke
there,
up.
It's being ruled by Vex. We basically get roped into doing jobs for Vex to help her leave the country, because otherwise she has assassins that will fuck us up if we don't help her. So the campaign is us doing these jobs, and at the same time, we're using our profits and stuff to build our own village in the Dead Oasis.
Yeah. And that was pretty much it. Obviously, everything now. Well, I guess carry on because we're gonna basically end it. Because there's no reason for it to continue, honestly. So, yeah.
I sort of ripped myself in a hole, and I lost motivation to carry on.
So,
Yeah, my ending notes for the Dead Oasis summary is a bit long because it does branch off into a whole story where it finishes.
Right.
I'll probably just read straight from the notes because it will be quicker.
Okay.
Alright, so after completing all of Vex's errands, she was able to leave the country, and the leadership was left to be her daughter's responsibility.
Yeah.
The party received the payment for all their jobs that they did, but Halio and Rev specifically were restless. Hal couldn't get the thought of revenge off of his mind against his captain, and Rev still hadn't gotten enough money for the potion that they needed. So each of them needed to leave Dead Oasis for different reasons, but they decided it would probably be most beneficial to go together because it was safer. And the rest of the party had their own different plans in mind as well. Phoebus wanted to pursue their fashion career, and they made everyone like a bunch of outfits before everyone was gonna leave. Hold on, I lost my notes.
That's alright.
Rush wanted to leave because he still had adventuring to do. He would have gone along with Halio and Rev, but he sort of got that the adventure they were going on was like really personal to them. So he decided to let them do their own thing, and he would like split off on his own. Deimos decided to stay and take care of his business with the bar that he had built for a while longer, and also that they needed someone to keep watch over the village for a little while just to make sure that it stays steady.
Yeah.
And then, because I was asking everyone for notes on what their characters were doing, this is where Nathan sends me an absolutely massive paragraph about what Aiden's doing. Everyone just sends me a sentence like, "Oh, they want to pursue this," and that Aiden's like, "Here's my entire story." So to get through it a bit quickly, he goes home because he wants to help his people at Stormhaven because he's been gone for months.
Right.
One day, he and Draco were camping in the wilderness, and he received a letter, which was an urgent call from Stormhaven. It was from the mayor, Elara Stormwatcher, who has been a long-time friend of the family, saying that there's been trouble there. So they rush over back to Stormhaven. They face a whole bunch of challenges and obstacles along the way. They arrive at the town, and the town is in disarray. Like the buildings are all damaged. There's a bunch of injured people. There's like despair in the village, and they basically just work using their powers to calm a storm that's happening nearby to drive away these sea monsters, and then spend weeks and weeks rebuilding the town. Yes, that's the end of Aiden's thing. Now back to the present when Hal and Rev are about to leave.
Okay.
The first stop along the way was a city that was miles away, and they were gonna just stop there just for food and drink. But they found that it was very busy with people and attractions all over. They went to check it out, and there was a festival/carnival that was coming through town, and they had a bunch of different games that people could play for prizes.
Right.
This really got Rev's attention because it looked fun. Halio wanted to like stay like stoic and focused, but he ended up getting dragged along as well. Rev goes over to play one of the games, and it's one of those ball toss games where you try to toss the balls into the cups.
Right.
Now, an ability that Rev had that we've not mentioned here is if you've ever watched JoJo's, Rev knew how to use the spin, which is if you have a ball object, you can basically just make it spin with your mind, and you could put like a lot of energy into it, and you could make it move around in different ways and such. So Rev starts to play this ball game, and is using the spin to just absolutely just cheat the game as much as possible. Hal said that he was cheating, which made Rev laugh. They go to have some drinks at the bar, and like after having like quite a few drinks, Hal starts to get into the festival, saying that he wants to go back and try some of the games himself. And like he basically drags Rev back outside, and Hal visits the test of strength hammer machine and an arm wrestling machine. He beats the arm wrestling machine really quickly, but when he gets to the test of strength hammer machine, he decides to use his own hammer, which used to belong to his brother,
Ooh,
and he absolutely just destroys the machine in one hit.
oh,
And because he's drunk, he thinks it's really funny, so he just starts laughing like really out loud. The guy who runs the machine came out and was really angry, starts shouting at him and all that. And then Hal's like, "Oh, whatever, I'll pay for it," because like they got a big pay from doing Vex's jobs.
right.
All this stuff got the attention of a bunch of bandits that had been like sneaking around, and like they've taken notice of Rev and Hal and how their abilities are really weird. And they're thinking, "Oh, they must be adventurers. Like, surely they have a lot of money." The two of them go back to the bar they was in earlier to keep drinking. And then they find that after a few sips of their drink, they start to get really dizzy. Because the bandits had spiked their drinks,
Oh,
like, while they were distracted with something.
crazy.
The bandits start coming in, stealing people's coin purses, taking shit out the register.
Oh,
Rev
no.
grabs onto a mug that's on top of the counter, that's like roughly ball shaped. And because it's ball shaped enough, he can use the spin on it. So he spins it and launches it at the gang leader's head. Hal uses some magic to get rid of the dizziness, and a full-on bar fight breaks out between them, the bandits, and the villagers helping the two.
Damn.
So these bandits get absolutely battered by just everyone,
Crazy.
and then they start to throw a small party in their honor, basically, like at the pub. They just have like a few drinks like normal at first. Hal was talking about how it's the most fun he's had in a very long time. Just being in like a place nice like this was a massive change of pace. Rev asks if like he's never been to anything like this before, and Hal's saying that he's always been way too busy to do anything like this.
Dang.
Rev is sort of pressing it, like, surely you couldn't have been that busy, like, even as a kid, like, that busy. Hal decided since he already knew, like, all about Rev, like, now would probably be the best time to come clean about his past. He tells him that ever since he was a little kid, him and his brother were taught to fight at a very young age by their father because he wanted the two of them to be soldiers. So almost every day of their childhood was just training and fighting over and over. And if the city allowed it, they would have been child soldiers.
God.
But they didn't, so they just kept training and fighting anyway. They began soldier work, and they were doing like patrols around the city one day until there was a bandit ambush. The two of them rushed in on the front lines, and they fell into this like full pit trap, and they started getting just like shot at by all angles. They were calling out to the captain to come and help them, but instead of helping, the captain backed off since it was a trap, and just left the two there. And Illidan died. Ooh, no.
Oh no.
Hold on. Yeah. Hal just talks about how he's never really had the freedom to like explore, and Rev is able to relate to it, just like the feeling of being trapped in like a thing you don't want to be in. They just start drinking more and just getting into the party to like cheer themselves up. They eventually get so drunk that they start doing karaoke up on stage. Hal's voice is absolutely terrible at karaoke because it's all gruff. But the village acts like that's not the case, and they just join in with the singing anyway. and because they'd basically saved them, like the village people had been buying their drinks and food all night, as well as letting them stay at the inn that was next door for free.
Oh. Damn.
The next morning, they set off to travel again. They reached the next main city along the way, and they found that they were having a tournament there, with the final prizes being prize money. As like a big entertainment thing for the town. And since Rev still needed extra money, he wanted to join the tournament. And since Hal wanted to test how far he'd come on this journey, he wanted to join the tournament as well. They get through the majority of the fights pretty easily. Like both of them are on like opposite sides of like brackets of the tournament. Hal finds himself in like the semi-finals, fighting this guy with this massive shield that he can't get past. And Hal's thinking like, oh man, if only I knew the spin like Rev did, so I could use it to move the guy's shield out of the way. And Rev is fighting someone who's a monk that keeps getting up close and trying to do grapples with them. And Rev is like, oh man, if only I had like, the same brute strength that Hal did to just throw this guy off of me. It's like, whoa, if only they were fighting the opposite people.
Damn.
Definitely didn't steal that from Adventure Time.
Dang.
But they find their own ways to beat the guys that they were facing anyway. Hal just brute forces his way through the shield guy, like just hitting him over and over until he pushes him out of bounds. Rev baits the monk into a grapple, and then Ellie's suggestion, by the way, Rev puts his hand down low and uses the spin on the monk's testicle. Testicular torsion.
Oh my
While the
god.
referee isn't looking, and then Rev wins the fight. And then it gets to the grand finals of the tournament, where it's Hal versus Rev. They both say to each other that they're not going to hold back. And so the fight starts. Hold on, I need to find my notes again. So the fight starts. Rev is too quick and like too battle smart for Hal to really deal with very well. Like Hal only manages to land like a few stray attacks, but Rev keeps landing just like clean blows, multiple in a row. Eventually, Hal just loses the match. He like falls over on his back, and Rev comes over and like he seems like kind of annoyed about the match actually. He comes up to Hal saying like, "Oh, what happened? Like I thought you said that you wasn't gonna hold back that fight." And like Hal's just smiling, saying like, "Oh, I wasn't holding back. You just actually beat me." Rev was asking like, "How come you're so happy that you lost?" And Hal says, "Oh, it's just nice to see that you're strong enough to do what you need to." And like Rev felt like pretty comforted to hear this, and they both started to laugh together. They collected their prize money, and Rev finally had enough to afford his potion. So they left straight away to a potion shop to buy it, changing Rev's body from a woman's body to a man's body, like they'd been trying to do all along.
Yeah.
Hal says to Rev, "I would ask how it feels to finally be a man, but I guess you have been all along, haven't you?" Rev begins to cry basically from joy that his troubles were over.
Yeah.
Hal comforts Rev with a hand on the shoulder, which turns into a hug. Rev says, "How about after we go to your town, we go back to my home so I can rub it in my parents' faces?" Hal starts to laugh a bit and he says, "Yeah, sure." So they set off again, heading for Hal's home, and they're getting real close.
Yeah.
Rev asks to know more about Elidhan, since he hadn't gotten the full story. So Hal just explains again that they fell into a trap. The captain knew that they were trapped there and just left them to die, basically. Rev brings up, like, oh, and you're trying to get revenge on the captain against him for that? And he's like, yeah, why? And he's like, oh, it doesn't sound like he was doing anything out of, like, evilness or whatever. Like, it was a trap. Like, if he went there, more people could have fell into the trap and like, more people could have died. And this breaks out, like, a proper argument between the two of them, whether if what Hal wants to do is right or not.
Dang.
The argument gets cut short when they arrive to the town. Hal says to him, like, oh, you accomplished your goal, and I need to finish mine now, so please don't stop me. Hal goes straight through the village, and he finds the captain of the guard unit within like a few minutes. He just says to him really clearly, like, I came here to kill you for letting my brother die. The captain just makes fun of him, saying that he's weak, but he does grant him a one-on-one fight in the field, like clearly expecting that he was gonna beat Hal. The fight starts off and it's a bit even, but using his like new magic and all the stuff he learned along the way, the fight really quickly turns in Hal's favor. Like the captain is on the floor, like clearly beaten. Rev is watching this from the side, and it's still just like going on in his mind that this just isn't right. Because it was just a tactical retreat, like more people would have died if they tried to get the two of them out of that mess back then. So another argument breaks out between Hal and Rev. The argument ending off with Rev saying something like, oh, this isn't what your brother would want. Like, don't disappoint your brother. Which, like, was mimicking something that Hal had said to Rev, like, way in the past.
Dang.
And then Hal starts to come to terms with that Rev was right. And that this revenge was pretty much pointless. Hal stood up above the captain, deciding to use his healing magic on the captain and to just leave him be. Hal starts to walk away, with the captain screaming at him as he walked away, saying like, oh, don't you ever come back here, Rosewood. If you're seen again, the next fight will be against all the forces of this city. But Hal just keeps walking away, ignoring it. Rev follows him along until they reach a field with gravestones, and Hal kneels beside the one labelled Ilidhan Rosewood. He uses healing magic down by the grass, which makes flowers grow all around it from the dirt. He recites a poem that their mother had left for them, and as he stands up, he leaves his hammer beside the grave, returning it back to Illidan. Rev asks him, like, oh, so what do we do now, Hal? And he says, well, we still have to go to your parents' house, right? And they both start smiling. And Hal says, and maybe you can teach me that weird spinny thing along the way. So after some more traveling, they get to Rev's home. And like Rev starts to nervously sweat a bit. And Hal notices and says, Rev, we have nothing to fear anymore. You've already conquered your demons. This is just the victory lap. and said they were ready. They knocked on the door and were greeted by Rev's parents. And Rev's parents looked at Rev with the new body, and they recognized him as familiar, but also unfamiliar at the same time.
Yeah.
And Rev says to them after the confusion, like, "Oh, what's the matter? Don't you recognize your dear son?" Like, really trying to rub it in that, like, he had managed to find a way to change his body. The parents were, like, really, like, they were speaking worried and, like, angry, saying, like, "You better have come home to apologize to us. Like, we can find a way to undo what you've done to yourself. You have come back to stay, haven't you?" And Rev says, "What? Nah, I just came back to tell you to go fuck yourself."
Damn.
Not expecting this, starts proper bursting out into laughter. The parents start, like, cursing out Hal and Rev, shouting whatever, like, vile things they can think of. Hal interrupts them, saying, like, "Oi, watch your tone. You should really watch how you're speaking when you're talking to my brother here." And
Yeah.
Rev was really surprised to be referred to as a brother, but, like, he was quite happy with it. So they start walking away from the house with the parents still screaming at both of them. And ultimately, they had both managed to change their own fates. Hal was supposed to be fated to be a bitter, just angry man, chasing after some pointless revenge. And Rev was fated to be a wife to just a rich man. But they managed to just conquer destiny, basically. And then they walked off seeking a new adventure together as brothers. And that is the summary for Dead Oasis.
Nice.
Oh,
that-
holy moly.
Holy moly. Yeah. Wow. Is that... Wow. Wow, indeed. I guess that is everything in this
Yeah, that's
summary?
about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, summary, recap. Well,
Lord
the
of...
Dead Oasis is kind of just a roundup, I guess.
Yeah, Dead Oasis is it's like we said earlier, it won't be it would be safe to say it won't be continuing from here on out.
Yeah, that Dead Oasis is absolutely dead. Quite fitting for the name. Which
yeah,
is why
quite
I made
fitting, yeah.
the roundup. Which is why I had to make the roundup story, just
Yeah.
to cap it off, basically.
Yeah, and at this point, it's I don't know what the future holds with some of those characters. Obviously, the Rev and Hal's characters very much wrapped up. But other characters may reappear, namely Rush specifically.
Maybe even Hal and Rev. Ooh.
Maybe even Phoebus. No, Deimos
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
Fomus. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they will return. So I remember
You know,
Ellie saying something about Rev like ages ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no.
you know, maybe
Yeah.
Specs might return.
Maybe. Yeah, dead. Well, no, they can't die. Fuck.
Oh yeah, small footnote. Vex took a pact with death for immortality, but they have to kill someone every day.
Damn. But yeah, that's pretty much this summary of Part Zero with the Shadow Saga, more specifically Smoking Shadows, and a very brief mention of Darkfang, mentions of Saxon Musica, and a couple of other one shots that have been done. And yeah, so that will pretty much end this video and this very lovely chat in front of the fire. of some D&D. D&Ds are probably going to be moved though. Obviously, the upload schedule is very much wild in terms of what we do,
Oh, yeah.
but
We're starting university classes again, so we need to refigure out a new schedule.
yeah, currently the
As
day
well as I will be beginning my own campaign soon as well.
Yes. I don't know how that's going to be recorded. Normally, every single time we do a D&D campaign, I'm playing and then I'm recording. But I'm not playing because I don't have time. So, I mean, I might, if I can.
Thank God Josh isn't part of Harley's campaign. God.
Dang. But I'm sure there'll be a way, and they will be uploaded, I imagine, to this channel. And yeah, but Smoking Shadows, Ancient Shadows rather. God, there are so many shadows at this point. That
Hedgehog shadow.
yeah, which will probably be filmed. We normally film them on Thursday every week, but now we're considering every Tuesday of every week, apart from next week because life, essentially. But it should return the week after. So, yeah, when some of us have a lot more free time. I have not thought about this. I've just thought about it now, and I thought it'd be really cool. It probably won't happen, but we are planning on meeting up and having a game night, or game day, as I'm calling it, because I'll be there for a whole day. We might do some funny shenanigans. Who knows?
It's possible.
It's possible, but yeah, we'll see. But the main thing is that Ancient Shadows rather, is happening every Tuesday, and the recordings will be whenever I get time to upload it, and hope that the internet just isn't unavailable for me like it was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. And I will start doing mine next week on Sundays.
Oh, swag.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, so good. Yeah.
And I will probably DM some point next year.
Yeah.
What happened, nerd? You didn't even finish your last two things.
Yeah, but
That is very
look forward to the Shadow Saga and the future that it will hold, because I certainly am. Along with the rest of us.
To mine.
Look forward to the
Strike Mirror. Darkfang 4 is on the way, baby.
Oh, absolutely, baby! It's not. We should probably clarify that. It probably isn't. But yeah, thank you all the D&Ds nutters for watching. I hope as well that the recording's gone fine, because the last time I recorded, or the last two times I recorded, I realised with my new headset, it didn't record any of the desktop audio, so that was really fun.
I swear to God, if it didn't record the desktop or video, and not the entire video is me talking.
into a void.
It's just like every 5 minutes, it's just you going, wow. And then it's just complete silence.
Yeah. No, it definitely has. I can see it's recording there. There is definitely audio going. So on top of the fire. So yeah, thank you all the D&Ds and others for watching. Tune in next time for Ancient Shadow, who's episode 4, I think.
22.
I think it's 4. I should probably double check before I sign off, because that will annoy me for the rest of the night.
I think it's 5. Something tells me
5 sounds right.
Let's have a look. Your videos.
Because I think this part's been on for too long to only be part 4.
It is episode 6 next time.
I was close than you.
Yeah. So
I was right there.
Yeah. So join us next time in Ancient Shadows episode 6. Goodbye, D&D's Nutters and Josh Wyatt Nation.
Bye bye.
Hello and goodbye.
Bye.